All right, brother. How you doing, my man?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
Can't complain, man. Can't complain. What time is it over there now?
What is it, 2 p.m.?
2 p.m. Oh, you're on East Coast, right?
Yeah, yep.
All right. Martin, I want to talk to you so we can get you out there a little bit so that people understand and know who is Walter Martin.
Right.
Tell me about you. Tell me about your upbringing. Where did you grow up? And, what sports were you into before you started bodybuilding? Just give me
Yeah, I was originally from Detroit, single house, mom, and grew up with all sisters. So
How many siblings?
I got three sisters on my mom's side. I got a couple on my dad's side, but you know how that go. I seen them like once or twice, so I don't know if I count them fully. I give them like 10, 15%.
Okay, so you grew up with three sisters in the house.
Three sisters and my mom.
How was that growing up with four females, being the only guy?
It was funny. It was difficult, and I had two older sisters. They actually the reasons I started working out because I was chubby and they used to always make all the fat boy noises and call me chubby, but I had a mom that had 16-inch arms. My mom worked out like crazy.
Oh, really?
She looked like she did shows. So people used to always pick on me, like my sisters, so my mom took me to the gym. I started complaining one day, half crying because my sisters, I had titties, and my sisters were talking about I could wear their bras and all this. They're 3 or 4 years older than me. So they would get on me a little bit, and so I went to my mom one day, and so she took me to the gym, and that's all they wrote. I've been working out since I was 12 years old because of her.
So you've been going to the gym since you're 12?
Since I was 12, I loved it from the first time that I went.
So what did you do? Did you do any other sports other than before you started lifting weights?
Oh I wrestled. I played football. Like I was always stronger than everybody. And I didn't know how strong I was. I was in junior high. My cousin played college football at Ohio Wesleyan, so I went to one of his workouts. I was already working out a little bit myself, and then we went and we did the leg press. And I'm sitting up there. They had like 4 plates aside, and and they doing it, and I'm like, damn, why y'all look like y'all struggling with that, So I got on there and I did it with one leg,
Are you serious?
And I'm going up against the college kids. I'm in 8th grade, about to go to 9th. And I'm doing it. And I was like, man, we put 10 plates aside and I was able to do it and everybody was blown away. And I was like, it's just always been genetically strong, that way. Well, especially, with legs. Chest wasn't as strong, but legs, it was, let me get you.
Yeah. How much did you weigh back then when you were 12 years old and started lifting weights?
Oh, shit. I was always a big boy. I was like 186.
186. And what's your height?
5'8".
What's your
5'8".
5'8", 186. Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah, I was 5'8". I was probably at 10 years old. So I shot up real quick. So everybody thought I was going to be a giant. And the next, 6th, 7th grade, everybody started going like this. I'm like, wait a minute now.
Everybody catching up and you ain't going nowhere no more.
Yeah, right. I remember we took pictures in 6th grade. I'm like this to everybody. I thought I was going to be some 6'8" giant, But yeah, I wrestled and I played football. I was, like I said, I was the fastest guy around, but I had no idea where the hell to run. You give me the ball, I didn't know which way to go.
you just took off. You just hauled ass.
You just run. And I ran like I ran. I was a running back, but I ran like I was running track. I shot straight up. And you just sitting up there. I remember one of the guys was making jokes about me because I didn't know I was that bad until like we're in the locker room. He said, "Yeah, man, you run." But I still move that power 5 yards, though.
Straight up running.
Yeah, straight up running. But, I still did my thing. I was pretty good at wrestling, but I wasn't that bright as a kid. I was mentally lazy. I remember it was 6th grade, and I bet somebody that I'd never do homework again. I won, but I have no idea who the hell it was. I can't even... because I only went to school in 9th grade, in 10th grade, and should have been my 11th grade year. But I was a kid that showed up. I never caused any problems, but I did nothing.
Yeah.
Then I noticed I had like 2 credits or whatever when I was supposed to be a junior, and I'm like, oh hell no, I'm out. So I forged my mom's name, and I went and got my GED. I was like, well, I might as well get on up out of here because I wasn't going to be that 21-year-old in high school. I wasn't going to do it.
So what did you do if you didn't go to school or didn't do your homeworks and stuff? What else? What did you do as a kid?
It was, man, you talk about, I tell my sons this now. I had the hardest life between 18 to 21. Every job I had is where people sat their ass. It was the worst jobs ever. I had probably 47 jobs in them 3 years because I show up for 2 hours and I'm like, I ain't doing this. I go home.
Were you kind of, affiliated with the wrong people or?
Yeah, no, because I was one of the people, I didn't get myself in trouble. I wouldn't do nothing stupid, but I hung around the people doing stupid stuff,
Right.
But I always I had no problem going to work, even though I had that many jobs. I would keep it to give me a couple paychecks, and I like to go out,
So you're not lazy working, but you just didn't want to do the school homework.
Well, I ended up going to Job Corps.
Okay.
And Job Corps Job Corps is a government program. It's for people that have no other option, kind of. And it got me into being a carpenter. You stay there full time, and I stayed there for a year and got into the carpenters union. And then they save up your money. So when I got out, you was able to get to a place, they got me a car and everything like that. So, by the time I was 21 then, I turned 21. Then my life got straight. But from the 18 to 21, I wish I could do that one over. I definitely would have finished school.
Yeah. So, but throughout that whole period, you were still lifting weights and bodybuilding in the gym.
Yeah, I didn't. It's funny because I hated bodybuilders.
Oh, really?
Because I love going to the gym because I hated the spandex pants and the bright colors and the loud making all the noise in the gym, and it used to irk me. Even when I was 12 years old, I remember watching some of the bodybuilders, but you just got some that's a little extra, So, and I remember I went. They had the Dave Lieberman show when I was 13. That was my first bodybuilding show, and I said, "Oh, I want to be a bodybuilder." And it was I was talking to a bodybuilder, don't know who he is, and he said, "You'll never be a bodybuilder if you don't spend $500,000 a year on drugs." And I was like, well, damn, I ain't got $500,000.
That's what he told you as a 13-year-old?
That's what he told me at 13. And then so that's one of the reasons I got turned off to bodybuilding. Because I was like, you know what? I can't do that. I ain't got $500,000. Like, who the hell got $500,000?
Yeah, that's crazy. So
but
somebody would even say
Lee
that.
Haney. I saw because Lee Haney was a guest poser, and this was 93. And that's somewhere around there. And I was sitting up there maybe 89. And I was like, God damn, like you talking about, looking as a kid, looking at this big ass man, you know what I mean? Sitting up there like, man, because he was an action figure. But we had a few bodybuilders and I was from, and it was just, they were so extra. Like, I don't know if it was because I was young, but they would kick me off the machine. Like when they wanted it, you had to get off. I didn't have an option. They'd come up like, you done. And I'd be like, all right, what you gonna say? 13, 14 years old, you got this, almost 300-pound man saying, get off. You just got off.
Right. So when did that change? When did you decide, okay, I want to be a bodybuilder and I want to start competing?
Well, in 2006, because I was always real lean. I stayed lean and stayed working out. And I was 2006, the arches of my feet collapsed. I used to jog like 6 miles a day. And it just out of nowhere, still don't know what happened. I think it was just normal wear and tear. I had naturally flat feet. So I sat up there and, started smoking weed and eating honey buns and Twinkies, because I couldn't walk. That was the first time I ever felt real depression. because you go from jogging, 6 miles a day, being, pretty ripped up, not being a bodybuilder ripped up, but, in really good shape to not being able to walk. I had the surgery in August of 2006, and my arches collapsed actually January 1st.
How does that happen?
So it was just, I had a bone slide out in my heel, and because I felt my feet getting tired, but I kept trying to push through it, that whole no pain, no gain. And I was going to a doctor, and he kept giving me cortisone shots. And he gave me way more than I was supposed to have. I had like 4 within 6 months. And then I'm talking about, he was giving me hundreds of Oxycontins.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
But luckily, I couldn't, I didn't like it. It got me sick, so I didn't take them, but the cortisone shots, so I just went right back to jogging. And then it was an older doctor. He should have been retired. So when I finally did go back, went to a real doctor, he did the x-ray. He said, man, your feet are trashed. He said, he had to do the surgery. When we did the surgery, he had to clean out all the bone fragments just from me pushing myself and getting, the cortisone shots. He said the cortisone shots actually weakened my bone because I had so many.
So in that, we talking in both feet?
Yeah, both feet. But I had the right one done, the reconstruction, but the left one, I'm actually waiting till I'm done with bodybuilding, because once I got the right one done, the left one stopped hurting, but I still can't jog. And there's certain stuff that I can't do. Like my right ankle is fused. It doesn't, go left or right or anything. It's just like a duck foot, just sit there.
Right. So it's got to be even worse when you're dehydrated, when you're show ready, when the water is out of there, and then it's got to be really, really painful.
Yeah, you can definitely feel it at times, And so, when I decided to go back to the gym after the surgery, everything healed up. I decided to go back to the gym because I was 250 something pounds, and I was usually be 190, and I was the chubbiest I ever been in my life. I went to World Gym in Sheffield, and then I ran into some bodybuilders there, and one of them, they're actually good friends of mine now, but man, when I first saw them, I didn't like them. They was the cockiest motherfucker. Hey, man. And the only reason I became a bodybuilder is because I wanted to beat them. That's because I was like, you know what? Because I was telling one of the guys how I was always ripped up. He said, man, you don't ever look like you worked out. And I was like, what?
So they were competitors at that time, though. They were competing already.
They both was competitors. And they because I wanted to train with the one, and he pinned me off to somebody else. So that pissed me off too. Because like, oh, I ain't worth your time,
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I actually became a bodybuilder, is because I wanted to beat them.
So how old were you when you decided to compete?
I was 32.
Oh, so you already 32.
Yeah.
So you trained. 32. So you trained for 20 years before you even competed the first time.
Yeah. And I remember
that's crazy.
Like I got a bunch of tattoos, and when I was getting my tattoos in my head, I said, you know what? Because I got a big piece on my back, and I was like, I'm never going to be a bodybuilder anyway, And I remember having a conversation with myself, but I knew absolutely nothing about bodybuilding. I did follow it somewhat, but of course I knew all the 90s guys, everybody, we all, because I did look into the magazines, and I would always look at it, but it always felt like it was too far for me to get, like too much of a mountain to climb, because there's no way that I could do all of that, because I had a lot of self-doubt when it came to bodybuilding,
You know what's funny? It's funny that you say you had a huge tattoo on your back. You can't even see it. Right. I look at your pictures so many times, and I didn't even realize there was a huge tattoo. All I see is it's a great detailed back. That's it. I don't see no tattoo.
Well, luckily I got it in between the rhomboids, like right in the middle of my back.
Oh,
so it actually falls in there because when I got it, I didn't have all that muscle.
Right.
So I think it covered it up a little, kind of sandwiched it.
Now I'm going to pay attention and look at it. If I'm looking for it, I'll probably see it. But if you don't know, so you don't even have to worry about it. Because if you don't know, you won't even see it because you don't pay attention to it. All right,
because even when I look at it, I don't notice it as much, especially because you're looking at detail and looking at see what you can see.
Yeah.
But
so 32, you started competing. What was your first show?
I actually did my first 4 years. I did all natural. Well, I was natural, but I had, like I said, I worked with my coach. He was Brian Hoydick, still a very good friend of mine. And he's still the most arrogant asshole I know, but I mean, he's honest. Like that's what I love him to death because he would tell you how it is. I just seen him at Pittsburgh and he got on me because he's like, hey man, why ain't I coaching you? But I don't listen to him. Like we're good friends for whatever reason. He knows what he's doing, but and he knows my body a little bit, but when he tells me something, I won't listen.
Why
Every
not?
time he wrote me, because I'm an ass. Because he'll write me something and I'll do the total opposite. He'd say, have 7 ounces of potato. I'm having 8 ounces of rice.
But that's you're hurting yourself at the end. You're not helping yourself.
No, it's definitely. It's some funny stories because I turned pro. I actually turned pro with John Meadows. We did the same show. I was working with him as a coach, and I didn't listen to him well because he fired my ass too.
So how would I know that you're listening right now?
Well, it is different. It's totally different.
What is the difference?
Because
you just told on yourself.
Right. Now this 4 years off let me realize because I've actually felt a little bit embarrassed about being a bodybuilder because I remember I contacted you. I had all the potential because I turned pro not even trying. I didn't try worth for shit.
Before we get there, let's back up a little bit. Okay, so you started competing. Okay. So your first 20 years you trained natural.
Yes.
And you competed as a natural bodybuilder the first how many years?
First 4 years. I started in 2010.
Okay.
And then
when did you start, when did you switch over to the dark side?
2014. Because I was doing, I started doing the non-tested shows, and even then, I didn't know people was on steroids.
Right.
I'm going and doing shows, and everybody thinking I'm on steroids, and then somebody asked me what I was on, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm taking creatine and some."
How did you go through the gyms for 20 years, not knowing that most people in the gyms, or not most of them, I don't want to say that, but a lot of people in the gym take steroids, especially the ones going on stage.
I'm extremely introvert. Even now, I own a gym, and everybody knows when they know I got certain looks if you could talk to me or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's and usually I don't want to be talked to unless I talk to you. It's a bad habit I got to get out of. Been trying for 20 years, but
Is it working?
But sometimes now if you come in and give me some money, we could talk. That money makes me talk.
Right.
But so I never really got into a lot of conversations with guys, about it. Like I went in and did my workout and I went home. And of course I knew about steroids and I heard about it, but I knew absolutely not one thing, didn't know what it was called. So when I was at one of the shows, I actually did Andy's show, it's the West Virginia show. And then I had one of the guys come up and I ended up getting 5th place. And I was pissed off. I'm like, man, I said, how the hell is everybody so big? And he was like, he said, yeah, are you taking, asked me what I was taking. And I said, nah, I just told him creatine. And he was like, you know where you at? And I was like, no, he said, this is a non-tested show. I'm like, we got to take a test. I had no idea what he was talking about. And then he said, no, the steroids. And I was like, oh. I was like, well, what are steroids? I didn't know.
You really had no idea.
None. And then so when he told me, I was like, oh, I ain't doing that shit. I was like, that's no good. I heard it shrink your dick, Just like, so that's the only thing I knew about steroids. That's what I heard. So I said, I ain't taking it. I don't want to take nothing away from that. So like when he told me, I went back and I talked to some of the guys and I said, well, I'm gonna just stay regular. And then I went back and I did a couple more shows. I did another Dave Lieberman show. And then I got pulled for a test and everybody kept saying I'm doing steroids. They kept saying they see the knots on my butt. And I'm just sitting up there like, why I ain't got no knots on my butt, but I still got the same knot to the day. It's just, it's on there. So I kept doing the shows and I kept placing. And then one day somebody said, well, what are you going to do in bodybuilding? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just keep competing. And he was like, for what? And I was like, I don't know. He said, you won all these little plastic trophies. It's like, you know how much money you spending? And then, so when I decided to actually get on juice, I was 187. And then that next year I was 207. Mm-hmm. Like
on stage.
One year. Yeah, on stage. I couldn't believe it. I dropped up 20 pounds in 1 year. And I went from, then the next year I went to 217. And then the third year, I jumped up to was 227.
So what show did you turn pro? Where did you turn pro?
It was the Team U in 2015.
So you got on it in 2010, and in 2015 you turned pro. You mentioned you turned pro without even trying.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, because like all the national shows, I did North Americans a couple of times. I did North Americans in the Masters because I turned 35. And I'm talking about I'm eating pizza the day before. Pizza, donuts. Like it was 2014. I decided I was going to junk load. So I watched something online, somebody talk about some junk load. Once I started, man, I couldn't stop. It was me and another guy, and we shared a room, and he was an older guy. He did bodybuilding too. Man, we started hitting them, and all you heard was rappers. I was like,
so what happened?
I was 17 pounds heavier the next day.
Full of water.
17, full of water, and I just did North Americans and got second place. We did Masters. I got seventh. That was the first time I didn't finish in the top 5. Man, you talk about I was so depressed, and I actually called John Meadows on my way home, half crying, mad. And
were you working with John at that time for that show?
No, I wasn't working with anybody.
Okay.
I was doing it myself because, like I said, I turned into an ass. Like I could do this myself, and still didn't know what I'm just taking, I'm reading online saying it was I forgot what format or whatever I was using online, but they told you how to take your steroids. So I'm sitting up there just taking it.
So you're basically just experimenting with what people put on forums online, which you have no idea if these guys are 14 years old, don't know what the fuck they're saying.
I had no idea of shit. And then no idea of nothing. And then like I was ordering my my test, and then it all ended up being fake. I went to the doctor and I told him I was taking testosterone. He said, "No, you ain't."
Not with your test level.
Right. He said, "You sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I'm sitting. He's like, "Well, how much you taking?" And I was like, "About this much." And he was like, "What the?"
What's this much? He's like,
yeah. And like, man, he sat me down and he gave me this long lecture. He was like, "Look, don't be stupid." Right. He said, "You don't know what you're putting into your body." He said, "You don't even know how much." And like, I didn't. I had no idea about nothing. So I actually got a steroid book. I forgot who wrote it.
Probably. I tell you who probably wrote it. Probably a drug dealer.
Right. So I read it, and it was supposed to be like some guy that knew what he was talking about. But I said, you know what? And I called John Meadows. So he actually, because we're both from Ohio, and he's seen me competing. And he was like, man, he said, I'm going to take you on. He said, but just listen to me, because he actually worked with me for free. And then, see, I had a thing where I did good for that first 4 or 5 months while we're off season. Off season, I'm the champ. I stay regimented.
Okay.
As soon as we got to start dieting, you know what I mean? It get hard. Like,
so why you did. Now I know why you didn't listen to him, because you didn't pay for it.
Right.
You think that I'm not losing nothing if I'm not listening to it, and you just, but yeah.
Right.
You wasted a lot. You wasted a lot of time and still turned pro.
Well, yeah, because I remember he told me, he's like, man, you looking real good. That day I went and ate everything. I was wondering, like, you can't tell me, but back then you can't say you looking good. If you say I'm looking good, that means for some reason I heard go have 12 cheat meals.
I'm glad you told me that, because I'm not ever going to tell you again you look good.
Right. Yeah, but it's like this time around, because like I said, I was embarrassed I got no notoriety. Like when I turned pro, I'm thinking I had no one talk to me. I'm sitting up there, damn, this is it.
Yeah. And
everybody else that turned pro, I'm seeing them doing interviews. And I turned pro, and I'm like, damn, not one person will say something. Hey, I'm busy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it changed today, so that's why you're on the podcast, because we need to get you out there.
Right. Well, now I'm actually listening. So, like,
good.
Everybody that knows me, they was like, man, this is the best you ever looked.
Right.
I'm
glad you're listening now. I'm really glad, because that would be a waste of a lot of time.
Yeah. It's a huge must. Okay. One, because I'm old. I ain't got time. I got one door left I can open. And I'm trying to peek myself through there now.
Yeah. Let's talk about what happened to your eye, because you told me the story, but I can't remember exactly. But something happened on stage, I remember.
Yeah. This was 2018. I was on stage, and was posing. My eye started bleeding, and of course we go back and called the doctor and all this. Now I knew something was going on, but we had a tumor in my eye.
Did you know that prior to the show?
Yes, I knew it prior. I had cancer. We knew that I had cancer. We knew it was a tumor and all that other stuff. But when I went to because they wanted me to have the surgery right then, but I'm like, I'm 6 weeks away from my show. I'm still doing it, you know?
Back up a little bit. When did you find out that you had a tumor in your eye, and how? Why did you check your eye?
Well, no, I woke up that morning and I couldn't see out of half my eye.
Okay.
So, because the tumor was on the optic nerve, so it pushed on something and it cut off vision to half of the eye. There was a perfect line.
So you woke up in the morning, you could see only on half of the eye. So you went to the doctor.
Went to the doctor. As soon as he looked in there, he said, man, he said, I can't be sure. He said, but you look like you got a mass growing in there. And he actually was a surgeon, a retired surgeon. And he said, it looks like a tumor. He said, I'm not supposed to tell you that, because we got to do a biopsy. But he was like, but when he saw it, it looked like it was on my brain. So he messed up, and he told me, he said, man, look, you better call your family now, because you got to have brain surgery. And they's like, and it was on the frontal lobe, and he was telling me that's where all your personality is from. So he's like, you may have the surgery, come out a different person. He said, you ain't got a chance of dying. So I'm sitting up there, called my wife at the time, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to die,
How far out from the show was that day?
6 weeks.
So a doctor tells you 6 weeks out from a show that you, there's a possibility that you die, back then that he said brain tumor, you need surgery, and you still have nothing better to do than to keep going.
Well, see, let me explain that.
You're crazy as hell.
Right, because when I went to the second doctor that he referred me to. That doctor said, oh, that ain't cancer. That doctor don't know what he's talking about. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh.
And then so I had to go to a third doctor. because I actually stopped this doctor from talking because he was too young, you know. And I don't like when it comes to that. He was 32 years old. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. And you ain't had enough life, because the doctor that was retired, he was 60 something years old, you know, retired. So he got history. He's a retired surgeon. So I went to the Cleveland Clinic. They have an optical tumor specialist. There's only 4 in the country. Just so happened to be one there. So when I went there, he said, "Yep, it's a tumor." You know, but he said I have to do a biopsy to see what type, and they had to see exactly where it was. And then he told me that we got to take the eye. And then I said, "Well, I'm 6 weeks away from a show. Can I keep going?" He said, "I'd rather you not." He said, "But I had the tumor growing for 7 years." This is one good thing. Bodybuilding actually saved my life, because when I started taking steroids, it slowed the tumor down. You know, I didn't know I had the tumor, but the only reason I knew that is because I had got a piece of sliver of metal in my eye from work. And so when they took it out, they did an x-ray. So that was in 2012. When it came to 2018, when I had the cancer, they did the same x-ray again. And then they said, "Oh, we seen it in 2012, but I never went back for my checkup." So they didn't tell me.
Oh, so they didn't tell you that they saw something? You need to come back to check again?
Yeah, they never told me. And I'm like, because they called it a freckle. And I was like, well, how the hell you wouldn't have told me?
Right. See, and that's why people lose trust in doctors and hospitals nowadays, because they literally forget to tell. That's how I lost a brother.
Yeah.
You know, for a doctor not telling him that there was things in the scan, and then 6 months later, you know, he's in the hospital with stage 4 lung cancer. But listen, now, so the doctor tells you got to get surgery, but you decide not to do it. You said, "I'm going to do the show first." I don't know I don't know where you get that from, but if I had to go through this and the doctor would tell me, the last thing out of my mind would be a show 6 weeks later.
Well, see, the reason why is because this is the first show where I did everything I was supposed to do.
Okay.
You know, I told myself, I was like, I'm tired of fucking up and all that. And so this was the first time I did everything I was supposed to do, all my ducks in a row. And I was actually working with Dave Palumbo then.
Okay.
And I did everything I was supposed to do.
Did you tell Dave when you found out from the doctor? And he told you to keep going?
No, he told me not to do it.
But he still helped you to the show.
Yeah.
So that's basically supporting it. It's not like he's telling you not to do it. I would stop helping you. Anyway, so now you get on that stage, you go through all the way, and in the middle of, was it prejudging or finals, all of a sudden?
Prejudging.
You start bleeding out of your eye.
Yeah, I'm posing, and I felt a little pop in my eye because the tumor actually burst.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
There was a hemorrhage, so I felt a little pop. I'm like, all right. And next thing you know, you feel something wet on your face. And I'm like, well, damn, is this sweat? And I'm sitting up there, I wiped my eye, and I looked down, I saw the blood, and I just walked off the stage because, you know, like, I didn't know what the hell to think. So when I walked off, I went back, and I was like, look, man, my eye's bleeding. They said, well, you can't go back out there, because they didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. So I called the doctor, and they said, well, drive to the hospital, because we was in Indiana. And so they said, drive to the hospital. I drove to the hospital, and then they removed the eye the next day.
Wow. So in it and right out, no questions asked, no more. I'm surprised because you said that the steroids probably saved your life. And because you didn't take any growth hormone, right?
No, I didn't take, I never took any growth. But when I did the steroids, that's what the doctor had told me. He said, well, I wouldn't tell you this, but he said, you know, because we got into the whole thing about God, and we were talking about bodybuilding, and I never wanted to be a bodybuilder. And he was like, sometimes things work out in your favor. He said, because if you wouldn't have started taking steroids, that would have by the time we would have found out, it would have overtook your brain and everything. Yeah. But the steroids slowed it down.
And that's why I'm saying, if you didn't take any growth hormone, because GH would speed it up. It would make it grow even more.
Right.
That's something that a lot of people don't understand, that GH will increase tumors. If you have cysts and tumors, they will actually grow. That's what I was told by a doctor. So this is not me saying that. That's just what I was told by a doctor.
I heard the same thing. Yeah. So it was super lucky, and I was like, well, damn. Well, I'm glad I became a bodybuilder, you know?
So you had surgery the next day. Right away, they took your eye out, and then what makes you decide to put a different color in? You're just different.
Right. No, well, because I hate being told what I can do and not do. So the doctor, he was like, oh, yeah, you can, we could get the same color to match and nobody would know. I said, well, shit, I want everybody to know, you know?
This guy's different. Go ahead.
So I got a different color just to do it, because I was like, you know what, if I got to get because I thought about it, I'm like, well, shit, if I got to get a different eye, I might as well get the color I want. You know?
Yeah. I always wanted blue eyes.
Right. And I was like, well, damn, how many times do I have the opportunity to get a different eye color? You know, I was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and take it. I wanted to see what I look like with it. You know, and then it's actually fun to have it now, because all the kids whenever you see a kid, because you know how kids don't hold back, they be like, Ma, look at
his eye.
I get to have fun with it.
So let me ask you this though: how long was the recovery after the surgery? Because I mean, there's got to be because you were still seeing with this eye, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
was actually I couldn't see. Like, I was blind for about 4 days. Because it was sensory overload on the other eye. And they said you might have it or might not. But when I woke up that next day, I'm sitting up there trying to open my eye up. You couldn't open your eye. And it's like your brain had to figure out what everything was or something.
Right.
Because even though when I could open my eye, nothing looked the same. Even people's faces did not look the same.
Right.
You know, and then I actually went to the gym the next day after I got after the surgery. I sat up there and told my wife, you know, hey, take me to the gym. And she's like, take you to the gym, you know, because I own a gym. And I was like, well, yeah, I want to go to the gym. I haven't been there in a couple of days. And she was like, sit your ass down. You know, I was like, no, just, you know, just take me to the gym. So we went to the gym. I really didn't work out, but I just wanted to see what was going on.
Right.
And even though I couldn't see shit, you know.
I think training after that, you know, raising your blood pressure wouldn't probably be the best thing to do.
Well, I didn't grab any weights.
Good.
I really did just want to see what was going on, you know.
Good.
But even though I couldn't see, I was walking around. I had to hold her arm while she was just walking me around. But it just made me feel like nobody was stealing from me.
Yeah.
But bodybuilding it still changed my life, because I would have never owned a gym. Like, I got an extremely successful gym. The one thing I did listen to John about is making something for yourself after bodybuilding.
Right.
And I said, well, damn, I might as well try to make it now, you know, because like I said, when I turned pro, I didn't have one person talk to me. And that was a disappointing, you know, extremely disheartening, disappointing, like, damn, you know, like, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I gotta make something, because I'm not going to really make any money from bodybuilding, because, you know, you spend a lot, you know. So I said, well, I'm gonna just use my knowledge, because I've always been a trainer, but I was doing it part-time because I could never make any real money at it. But I was good at saving money, because I, you know, when before I owned the gym, I was a machinist. And, you know, I was making like $90,000 a year, you know, and I actually gave that job up to go back and start off as a trainer again and make $30,000, you know. But I took that big leap of faith. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just put myself out there and grind it out, you know, because I said, well, I'm gonna open a gym, I'm gonna do this and that. And I set all these goals for myself, and it happened, and it happened really quick. just got some really good clients, some really good members, and just worked my butt off. I've been working 80 to 100 hours a week for the last 8 years.
Right. But, well, listen, and some people are they're better at work than in school. I was one of them.
Right.
So now let me get back to your career as a pro. You competed in the 212. That was your last, well, not the last one. Your last pro event was in the Open. But before that, you competed in the 212 where I said, and I told you that, you had no business being in the 212.
I looked like hell.
Tell me about how did this come about? How did somebody tell you to diet down to 212 pounds?
I was still working with John then, and he went to the 212. And then I asked him about it. I said, well, you think I could do the 212? And he just said, yeah, you can. And he didn't say don't do it, but I didn't realize there's a point to where there's no coming back. Mm-hmm. Like when I got to about 225, I shouldn't have went any lower. Because I looked good, but we kept pushing. And then it was hell because I remember my first 212 show, we got to 217 and I couldn't get any lower. So I was working with John and he said, I'll tell you what to do in the morning. So I got all anxious and nervous and I took like 5 Diazide,
Oh.
Yeah, oh my God.
That was not because he told you, that was you.
That was me.
That was me.
That was me.
Again, you made a decision for yourself.
Made a decision for myself.
Not listening to your coach.
Well, he told me he's going to tell me what to do in the morning, right? And I was stressed out. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. I'm sitting up there all night like, how the hell I'm going to get these?
You couldn't wait till the morning. Out. So you took five Diazide for real?
Yeah, I took, not all at once. I took an hour in between.
So which one? Like you took, what milligrams are we talking?
The 25 by 12 or
20.
Yeah, it was.
It's 25 milligrams, but they also have the combination, the 37.5 time or something.
Yeah.
So you took five.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I made that 212.
Yeah, you make that 212, almost died for everybody on that stage.
Yeah, I was actually about I think 207. Yeah, it was.
Damn, that's crazy.
It was bad. It was bad, and man, you talk about John. That was the first time John was very laid back. Man, he went off, and he fired me that day. He said, I'm done with you. He said, you don't listen for shit. Now I'm like, he cussed at me? Like, damn. But he went off. He was like, man, I've been trying my best. You don't listen. And I'm just sitting up there and I just had to take it in because I knew I wasn't.
Right.
And I'm just like, well, damn. I was like, I got the coolest guy to just fire me because I don't listen,
Yeah. So I really hope that's over with and that you start to just listen to maybe 75%.
No, I listen. Trust me. It's even though, because sometimes I still talk to my wife. My ex-wife. I still call her my wife. She divorced my ex last year, and she always like, you don't listen to nobody, and I'll call her up, and it was like, you get close to your show. I'm like, man, I should do this. She's like, you shouldn't do shit. She said, how many times have we had this conversation? Every time you try to do something yourself, but see, it's because I work with clients, and she was like, yeah, you could tell other people what to do, but you cannot tell yourself what to do because everything you're supposed to tell yourself is the opposite of what you should be doing.
And that's true, but let me ask you this, though, because, I said you don't listen. But what do you do if a client would do the same to you? He won't listen to what you tell him to do.
Right. I'd be ready to fire him.
I'm glad you are. Okay, cool. So let's talk about the last show you did. You competed in the Open. You weigh in at how much? Remember?
We were at 230.
230. Okay, so you look good. Everything was just about where it should be. Of course, it's hard and you did all right. You placed all right. I think you could have placed a little bit better, but
it's that show. Honestly, I was extremely happy with the look. I impressed myself. It made me know that I can stand with the guys. Mm-hmm. Because I was still worried about that damn number. I ain't gonna lie. You sit up there like, man, I gotta be this, I gotta be that. But when I looked at the pictures, I'm like, damn. Well, especially with the legs, legs always, got some good volume to it. Upper body, of course, I still got to get better everything, but I'm still like good enough to stand with that. Well, I call it the second tier guys. The first tier, I ain't. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not at that level, but my whole thing is I'm the best condition I've ever been with the fullness.
Right. And you're doing the Orlando Pro coming up in what is it, 3 weeks?
Yeah, and that one right there, because since we're pretty much ready, it's gonna be a lot better package. Because right now, right now, I look in the mirror and I just see a big difference,
Right. Because you know how it is. First show together, there's a lot of data that you got to download to see, there's different things that you do and you don't know how the body responds. And so you learn from, little mistakes, and I think for the next show, I think you will be way better off. And, I can tell by the way you're looking right now and how you feel, it's not that bad. Because I remember the times where you told me, it's like, I don't know why I'm not suffering.
Right. Right.
I was like, you should have never said that. I said,
right.
So there's certain things that you have to do in order to bring that condition. But when we talk about you and your body, I think you have great symmetry. You have full round muscle bellies. You have great, from the back, you're crazy. Your back detail is ridiculous. Your quads is top tier level. You know, so I'm really excited to see what the package you will bring to the Orlando Pro, because I think it's going to be a big difference compared to the Indy Pro, right?
Yeah, it definitely is, and I'm glad we decided to move it up because I get my summer,
Right.
Instead of doing the Chicago, I'm doing this one, and because I was already ready, just had to pull it in and this next couple of weeks is just nothing about getting better. And I'm looking like, man, I can step on stage right now,
right.
If we drop water, but just taking them next few weeks and just keep getting a little bit better every day. Because you know how it is when you wake up in the morning, I can't wait to get up and just go look at myself.
Right.
Every single morning.
Every time you take a piss, a piss, you hit a few shots.
Oh yeah. I got to do the ab check, and I sit up there, pull up the leg, and I do the Cutler stomp.
Yeah. We all the same. We all the same. Bodybuilders, that's what we do. You take the little mirror and you get in the mirror and you check out your back.
Oh yeah. Well, I got one of the big mirrors. I got a big mirror up with a big mirror, and so I got it angled right. So when I look back there, I'm sitting up there doing all my little checking it out. And then cause in the gym, this, for some reason I still get shy in the gym. I don't wear tank tops or anything. I got a big posing room, and I don't go back there and pose. I need to. I pose at home, but I need to start posing in my posing room. But it's one of them things is I always had to think that I hated bodybuilders because they was always half naked in the gym.
Right.
So for some I don't do it here. I don't, even though I built the posing room, but people could see in there. So I don't go in there and pose, but I got to get that out of my head.
Yeah. Get ready to pose several times a day. I would say three times, three to 5 rounds, hold the shots for 10 to 15 seconds. This will help you. This will help you to bring out some extra detail.
Right.
In certain body parts that you can't get from working out.
Yeah, I've been trying to squeeze down my hamstrings. You got a little bit more, you can get a little bit more detail. So I've been squeezing them so hard, I'm sitting up there and feel like one of them going to pop. Because I just want to try to make it deep as I can.
That's right. And just keep posing, and keep holding the shots. Because once you get on stage in Orlando and they call you out, you got to be able to stand there. You got to be the first one in the shot and the last one out. That's what matters. It's so important. Trust me.
Yeah, I can't wait to send my pictures Friday because I got that side chest worked out.
Awesome.
I sat up there. Yeah, I got it.
Brother, I appreciate your time. I know you got gym business going on, so I will let you go. I appreciate you talking to me, man. I'm looking forward to you killing it in Orlando.
Oh, yeah, me too. I can't wait.
All right, brother. So take care, man. Tell us one more thing. I was like, where's your gym? What's the name of the gym? How can people contact you?
My gym is called No Nonsense Training. It's in Elyria, Ohio. You can just got Facebook, Instagram. Just look up nononsensetraining.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's my website. You can go on there and just take a little tour.
Any phone number where people can reach you for personal training?
Oh, yeah. It's 440-687-4300.
All right. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, champ. We'll talk soon. Take care. God bless and stay safe.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Take care, brother. Bye-bye.
All right, brother.